Polynomial long division is a lot like long division with just constant terms. There's a process. Step one is we're going to divide, and we're focusing on the far left terms only, or in the case of a constant expression, we're focusing on the far left digits only. So we're going to divide and then multiply the top number by the outside part, or distribute in the case of polynomials. Then subtract and then bring down and repeat the process. So just to review how to do that with numbers, we're doing 34,125 divided by 12. So we want to focus on the 12, of course, and then the first two digits, the 34. So let's see. 2 times 12 is 24. So we'll actually do the multiplication. And then we're going to subtract now, so 34 minus 24 is 10. Bring down the next digit, which is a 1, and repeat the process. Okay, so let's see. How many times does 12 go into 101? 12 times 8 is going to be 96. So we multiply, then subtract. 101 minus 96 is 5. Okay, now we're going to bring down the 2 to make a 52. So what times 12 is close to 52 without going over? That's going to be a 4. So 4 times 12 is 48. Subtract. It's going to be 4. Bring down the next digit, a 5. And what times 12 is close to 45? Well, 4 times 12 is 48, so we're going to have to go lower than 4 with a 3. So 3 times 4, or 3 times 12 is 36. And let's see, some more room here. 45 minus 36 is 9. Okay, so our answer is 2,843 with a remainder of 9. Okay, so we found out that this does not divide evenly, which means 12 is not actually a factor of 34,125, and that's because we had a remainder. Alright, but our answer, or the quotient, the answer to a division problem, is 2,843 with 9 left over. Okay, so we're going to use that same process with this example. So let's take a look. We are dividing 2x to the third plus 3x squared minus x minus 5 by x plus 2. Okay, so I've got the steps over here. We can look at those. First of all, we're dividing, and we just talked a minute ago that we're actually dividing the outmost term. So I'm focusing on the leftmost term here, which is 2x to the third, and the leftmost term here, which is x. So over here to the side, we need to think, what is 2x to the third divided by x? In other words, what number can we put on top that will be multiplied by x to give us 2x to the third? Well, when we do the division over here, that's actually going to give us 2x squared. So let's multiply the x plus 2 times 2x squared. And I'm actually going to write this on top, lined up with the other, with the like term, with the x squared term. So let's do the multiplication. And on step 2 up above, we said multiply. Distributive property is going to have to come into play here. So 2x squared times x is 2x to the third. Line that up with the like terms. 2x squared times 2 is positive 4x squared. Okay, next step is subtract. Now we're actually subtracting both terms here. So let's go ahead and apply that negative sign to both terms that were already there. Okay, 2x to the third minus 2x to the third, those cancel. 3x squared minus 4x squared is negative x squared. Okay, now the next step, bring down. We're going to bring down the next term in the problem, which is negative x, and then repeat the process. Okay, so again, when we divide, we're focusing on the leftmost terms. So our new left term is negative x squared. So let's go over here, negative x squared divided by this x that's still on the outside, is giving us a negative x. So that is going to be the new term that we will use to multiply. Okay, so again, when we multiply, we're going to distribute. Negative x times x is negative x squared, and then negative x times 2 is negative 2x. Next step is subtract, and remember when we subtract, we actually have to distribute a negative to the whole thing, so it's going to change this negative x squared to positive, and the negative 2x to a positive 2x. Okay, negative x squared plus x squared, those two will cancel. Negative x plus 2x is going to be positive x. Next step is bring down, so let's bring down the negative 5. And again, we need to come up with a number to put on top, so what times x is x? And to make sure, we take this leftmost term, the x, divide it by the number on the outside, and that's 1. So our number up here is going to be a positive 1, so plus 1. 1 times x is x. 1 times 2 is 2. And again, subtract, so we're going to change the signs throughout this piece. That's going to change that to a negative x. And instead of plus 2, it's now going to be minus 2. X minus x, those cancel. Negative 5 minus 2 is negative 7. Okay, so we've got a remainder here of 7. So what we can see here, since we did have a remainder, is that what we divided by, the x plus 2, is not a factor of this expression that we divided. Okay, but the actual answer is this right here, 2x squared minus x plus 1, with a little bit left over, remainder 7. All right, moving on. One more example here. Alright, so now we are taking 3x to the third. Now notice, we don't have an x squared term. You want to have every term accounted for, every exponent from the highest one all the way down. So we're actually going to add in plus 0x squared. What that's going to allow us to do is keep everything lined up as we're going across and doing the division. Okay, that's all divided by x minus 5. Okay, remember the first step is focus on the outer two left terms, so we need to figure out what to use on top to multiply that's going to end up giving us 3x to the third. So let's see, 3x to the third divided by this x on the outside over here is going to be 3x to the second. So I'm going to line the 3x squared up above the other x squared term here. And now step 2 is multiply, and don't forget to distribute that to both terms here. 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. 3x squared times negative 5 is negative 15x squared. Step 3 is subtract. Remember to distribute that subtraction sign to both terms here. Okay, 3x cubed minus 3x cubed cancels. We had 0x squared to start with, and this is why we needed a placeholder, so that we would have something to add this like term to. 0x squared plus 15x squared is 15x squared. Next step is bring down, so we're bringing down that next term here, and then we're repeating the process. So we need to find something that times x will give us 15x squared. So 15x squared divided by x is just going to be 15x. So that's our next term. And then multiply 15x times x is 15x squared. 15x times negative 5 is going to be negative 75x. Okay. Oops. And we're at the point where we need to subtract now, so subtracting all the terms or distributing a negative across there. 15x squared minus 15x squared cancels. 2x plus 75x is 77x. Okay, and then now bring down the next term. Negative 1. Okay, now again, find a number to multiply by x to give that will end up being 77x. So 77x divided by x, if the x is canceled there, we're looking for 77. So positive 77. 77 times x is 77x. And then 77 times negative 5 is going to be negative 385. Okay. Now, we're done with all the terms up here that need to be filled in. We've brought down all our other terms from the dividend, and so now we need to do this one last subtraction step. Change all the signs all the way across. And let's see, 77x minus 77x cancels, and negative 1 plus 385 is positive 384. So that is our remainder here. And again, that means that x minus 5 is not a factor, but at least when we divided, we were able to get another polynomial expression, again including the remainder.